Welcome to Jazz on My Mind, Coast to Coast. I'm Richard Blackwell. This is the show that is dedicated to jazz lovers around the world. Every Wednesday night, we bring you jazz events from Los Angeles to New York, along with performances and jazz chats with the legends and upcoming jazz stars. And this week is a very special jazz week here in Wilmington, Delaware, because the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival is here. And it's going to be happening until Sunday. So, in honor of Mr. Clifford Brown, we have a live performance from a great jazz group called Aniya. They're going to be performing tonight. But first, let's welcome an outstanding pianist, composer, educator, and author. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Guthrie, Guy Ramsey, to Jazz on My Mind. What's up, brother? I can call you my man, my brother, my homie, because you're from Chicago.
Southside, baby.
My hometown. Hold that mic up so they can hear you. My hometown, our hometown.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad you can be on the show because we are friends, we are homies. And your music, you're a tremendous musician, composer, educator. I'm telling you, your credentials are exceptional. But first of all, let's talk about what you're doing with your music, because you're an outstanding pianist and you got a tremendous jazz group. Let's talk about that.
Well, right now I'm in the studio completing my second project called The Colored Waiting Room, and it features some local singers on the CD, and so I'm wrapping that up. I think it'll be available by the end of the summer.
By the end of the summer. And currently, you got a CD that's out now. You got a copy of it right here. Let's see if we can show the audience it's called Mr.
It's called Why the Q, and it's by my band, Dr. Guy's Musicology.
There you go. How's it doing on the charts? How did it do?
Well, I did get some national airplay here and there, and I learned where the CD was being played, but I didn't have the infrastructure together to take a live band to the parts of the country where it was being played. So hopefully I'll be able to do that with this next CD.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that CD is outstanding. One of my favorite cuts is Lincoln Drive.
Okay.
But I love that CD. Yeah. Now, you started playing, I think, when you were about the age of 5.
Yes, sir.
And you started playing, what was it, the bass?
No, I was a pianist.
The pianist? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us how your musical career began. How did this all start for you?
Well, as I said, I started playing the piano very early, and I went through a couple of other instruments, violin, guitar, and things like that. And I always had my interest. In high school, I started playing in jazz bands, and that's kind of where it started. And actually, when I left high school, I didn't go straight to college. I just went on the road with groups because that's what I believed I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah, I think you were about 18 years old when you started your professional musical career. Now, I introduced you as a composer. I mean, you have done it all. Even from a standpoint as an author, you wrote an outstanding book called Race and Music.
It's called Race Music, Black Cultures from Bebop to Hip Hop. And that's part of my, let's say, the professor, life is, we write books and articles. And currently I'm finishing a book on Bud Powell, a jazz pianist.
Wow.
And so, I've got 2 big projects on the desk. Yeah.
Well, when we talk about your book, it was it was voted an outstanding book of the year by the International Association of the Study of Music. Wow, that had to be a great honor for you.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it's really nice to be acknowledged by your peers. But what really prides me or makes me proud is that it's a book that my mother would read as well. I think everybody can get something out of that book.
Now, this is the week Clifford Brown Jazz Festival is happening. We all know about Clifford Brown, one of the greatest trumpeters ever to play jazz. And every year, this wonderful city of Wilmington, Delaware, since 1989, has put together a tribute called the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival. What do you think about such an honor for a wonderful man?
Well, I'll tell you what, the week of the Jazz Fest is the best week in Wilmington. It's always the best, to see the crowds out. Yeah. The musicians are always top notch, and it's always a great time. Always a great time out here.
Well, we're doing we're going to try to do what we can to make every day like that in Wilmington, Delaware. Because in my eyes, Wilmington, Delaware is definitely the jazz capital of the world. That's what I call it, and doggone it, that's what it's going to be.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it. Well, all right, all right.
Now, speaking of the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival, your group performed here at the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival. I think it was in 2008.
2008. That was a great time and great feeling. That was the year my CD came out. Mm-hmm. So it really gave us a nice push to be on that stage. There's nothing like it, really.
Yeah. Now, today, there's going to be a lot of musicians. In fact, it started on Sunday. We were there yesterday with one of our groups, Manifest 3. They performed yesterday. Great show. You got to admit, the atmosphere at Rodney Square, where the festival is held every year, is tremendous.
The beautiful people of Wilmington are out. There are food trucks. You can get a little food, a little drink, and a lot of good music. You can't beat it.
You can't beat it.
Yeah.
Now, your education, I'm telling you, is phenomenal. You have done some outstanding things. You received the Thurgood Marshall Dissertation Fellowship Award. You've done that at Dartmouth, right? You also received the Du Bois Institute Fellowship at Harvard. My God, when do you find time to do your music?
Well, you try to just have discipline toward the things that matter in life. And, it doesn't take 8 hours a day. If you could just spend 2 hours a day consistently, then you can, start building up a repertoire of things and start pushing projects through. And that's basically what I've learned. If you want to accomplish a lot of things, you just have to report in every day. Mm-hmm. That's the main thing. You can't just go at it, for 8 hours one day and then leave it alone for 2 weeks and come back to it. It really doesn't work that way. Just a little bit every day and you can get a lot done.
You got to be a great pride, or should I say the city of Chicago has to be very proud of you.
Well, I have all my family there, all my cousins and aunts and everything, so I guess they are.
Yeah, they got to be proud of you.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to go back, and I feel like I have had a really great foundation where I grew up and in the atmosphere I grew up. I try to talk about a little bit about that in my book, Race Music.
Mm-hmm. Now, Chicago, because we both grew up there, growing up in Chicago, my dad was a big jazz lover. Mm-hmm. I mean, he hit me to Coltrane, McCoy Tyner, Jimmy McGriff. Mm-hmm. Was the same thing for you? Was it like that for you growing up? Because Chicago has so many wonderful musicians.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I come from a musical family. Mm-hmm. My father's family was really into jazz, and my mom's family, that migrated up from Georgia in the 40s, they came with the blues culture, so I came up deep in it all. Music was very important in the house, and my older sister introduced me to the rock and roll and all of that, so I always had a lot of people feeding me. It was just in the air, it was in the atmosphere.
Yeah, and in Chicago, especially in the 50s, the 60s, as in my teenage years in the 70s, there were a lot of venues for these artists to be heard.
Oh yeah, the New Apartment Lounge.
Yeah, remember the apartment? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
High Chaparral.
The High Chaparral.
Burning Spear.
Right. All the good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was it's a deep culture there because of all of the black migration that came to that city, mm-hmm. and you get a deep pocket of culture like that, and good things will happen. They certainly did happen in Chicago.
Yes, they did. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you're working on your new CD. Okay, what else is Dr. Ramsey working on? What else is going on in there?
Well, as I said, I'm completing a book on Bud Powell, a jazz pianist who rose to fame in the 1940s and died in the 60s. I'm completing now I'm going to start sounding real boring. But
no, I don't think so.
I'm completing an essay on the history of African American music for a standard reference volume. And I have a new book, a new essay out in my wife's book, Kelly Jones. She's an art historian, and her book I Minded: Living and Writing Contemporary Art is out now. Came out last month, and so I have an essay in that on free jazz. So we're pushing that right now. So I'm busy trying to get my golf game together too. Don't forget that.
And you mentioned your wife, and I've had the pleasure of meeting your wife. Outstanding, wonderful lady. And it's a great joy to be a friend to both of you, too.
Thank you, sir. We feel the same way about the work that you and Charlene are doing here in Wilmington. I follow y'all around. I try to keep up with what's going on.
You do, and I wouldn't use the word follow because we try to make you a part of what we're doing, and we appreciate your support because you know and understand music. And ladies and gentlemen, when you get someone like this young man wanting to be a part and see what you're doing, you must be doing something.
Yes, sir. You're doing great work here. It's just to bring the energy and the focus to live music making here in Wilmington. Mm-hmm. You know, the record industry has changed a lot, and musicians cannot depend on selling CDs to make a living.
Yeah.
You really make your living these days in the live performance venue.
Yeah.
So anytime we have someone like yourself who is bringing attention to that, it's a good thing.
Well, you know, and I tell everyone, it's we couldn't do it without the great musicians such as yourself and Tony Smith and the group Aniya, Delbert Boyer, who's coming on. We wouldn't be anything without you guys.
Yeah, but you mentioned Tony Smith, the great trumpeter. You know, he's on my latest CD.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He's doing I wrote him a song called The Big Cat.
Yeah, that's his nickname.
Yeah, right. And he does a really great job on it. Yeah. I think everybody's going to love hearing what he's doing on the CD. I have Denise King, local vocalist who's now touring the world with her latest project. And I also have my daughter, Bridget Ramsey, who's a singer, and she's on the CD as well. So it's
you
a
have
family
two other
thing.
children, too, don't you?
Yes.
Total of 3. What are your other kids? Because I think they're involved in some stuff as well.
Well, my son is a beat maker, know, and so he does that, and we have worked on scores together where I need that digital sampling thing. And my middle child she used to be a musician. Now she's just a music consumer.
Yeah.
She buys a lot of music, goes to a lot of concerts. So you gotta like that too.
Yeah. Now, I want you to give your website information for everyone who's watching. They want to learn more about Dr. Ramsey and what you're doing. Give your website information.
The website is www.musicollogy. That's musicology. musicollogy.com.
All right. Now, I know you got to make it up to the festival, but you're going to stick around for a little bit more with us, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
For a few more minutes, right?
My pleasure.
My pleasure as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Guthrie Ramsey on Jazz on My Mind. All right. Coming up next, we're going to have a jazz chat with the group leader of tonight's musical guest, Aniya, Mr. Delbert Boyer. He's going to be coming up next. But first, I want you to get your pen and paper because you know what happens every week at this time. We give you this week's jazz events, and we're going to start with this week's jazz events for the West Coast. And let's start with tomorrow, Thursday, June 23rd. You can see jazz vocalist Shay Welch sing some great jazz at Pip's Restaurant. And they're located at 1356 South La Brea in Los Angeles. Now at Pip's, reservations are highly recommended. And you can make a reservation by calling area code 323-954-7477. And on Friday, June 24th, it's the Weekend Concert Series happening at the World Stage. And their address, 4344 Degnan Boulevard in Los Angeles. Now this week, the World Stage will feature the music of David Arnett Cherry and Organic Groove. That's going to be happening at the World Stage. For showtimes, you can call area code 323, and the number is 299-2451. one of my favorite spots for jazz in Los Angeles. Also on Friday, June 24th through Sunday, June 26th, it's the fantastic vocalist Melissa Manchester. She's going to be performing some great jazz at the Catalina Bar and Grill. Their address, 6725 Sunset Boulevard in LA. For more jazz info, call area code 323-466-2210. And if you want some great jazz on the radio, you can turn on and check out my man Bubba Jackson. He's on the radio every Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. And to listen to Bubba, all you got to do is turn your computer on to 88.1, which is K-Jazz out of Los Angeles. That's 88.1. And once again, you can listen to Bubba anywhere in the world by logging on to www.jazzandblues.org. And for all of our viewers in Chicago, in the Midwest area, Chicago has a premier jazz club, and it's called Close Up 2. There's always some fantastic jazz happening. And for events and showtimes, call area code 312-385-1111. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, for live jazz events from coast to coast, all you have to do is log on to www.jazzonmymind.com. And be sure to keep that pen and paper handy, because coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to give you this week's jazz events for the East Coast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome guitarist supreme and group leader of that great group, that's great smooth jazz group, Aniya. Here's Delbert Boyer on Jazz on My Mind. Delbert, welcome to Jazz on My Mind.
What's up, Rich?
And you have met Dr. Ramsey. You guys have had a chance to chat.
Definitely.
And Delbert, I'm glad you could be on the show, because Aniya is going to be doing their thing with a live performance. You're a fantastic group. But you, just like Dr. Ramsey, is a composer. You are an outstanding musician. I'm telling you, you do it all as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Now, Aniya, outstanding group. In fact, you guys have been here on the show several times previously. How's the group coming along? What's happening with Aniya?
Right now, we're in the process of doing our own CD, a new CD. Mm-hmm. It's called Full Circle, and we're going to feature some of that music today.
Oh, on the show? Wow.
Yeah.
So we get to hear some of your stuff first.
The new stuff, right.
Right.
And we're going to have a CD release party on July the 9th in Westchester, a place called Jasmine's.
Okay.
And we're going to feature some of the music there, and we're playing at the Basil.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that on July the 7th, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, we've been in the studio for about a year, working on this music, and we're about ready. It's getting there.
Do me a favor, while we're talking about Aniya, give the names of the other gentlemen that make up that great group.
Okay, on drums, I have Mr. Rob Nelson. On percussion, I have Mr. Lamar Wagner. Keys, I have Mr. Monty Pollard.
Wow, yeah.
And saxophone, Mark Mitchell, and bass, Albert Morton.
And then yourself on lead guitar.
And myself on lead guitar.
You guys have been playing a lot of places here in the tri-state area. Very, very popular. And you've asked me to host your CD release party coming up.
Oh, definitely.
And that's a big honor for me. Anything that I can do for Aniya is a great thing for me as well.
I appreciate it. I know you have that energy, and you really bring some positive stuff to the music. And I mean, I really appreciate it, and everybody in Wilmington really appreciates that you're really bringing jazz from the local musicians. We have another voice.
Well, it's an honor for us to be accepted by the jazz community as well.
Definitely.
Now, like Dr. Ramsey and I were chatting about, the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival is happening this week. How does that energy help you as well?
Well, that's major energy. Actually, we're playing Friday on the afternoon concert at right across from the Basil at DuPont Park, 12 to 1:30, and it's just a real positive vibe. It's just a whole week of jazz, and people are really promoting jazz, and you know why people are here to hear that music, and it's just a great thing.
Good.
It's a great thing.
Dr. Ramsey, anything that you want to chat with Mr. Boyer about? Because both of you guys got so much in common.
Well, one of the things I just tell them that I appreciate, I heard the band play at Bezos.
Yeah, that's right.
A few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And what really impressed me is that I walked into the local spot and I heard a band playing their own original music.
Yeah.
And that's something I go around and hear a lot of music, and nothing against playing covers because audiences want to hear that, but you also want musicians to present their own work. And to me, that sets you apart from everybody else. And we want to know what you're thinking musically, not necessarily what Anita Baker was thinking. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thought. And Delbert, Dr. Ramsey, Guthrie has a lot of great stuff. His music is outstanding as well. So maybe, hopefully, sometime in the future, you two gentlemen may be able to get together and collaborate on some stuff.
I got the CD and I'm listening to it tonight.
Now, Aniya, you got your website happening. What's your website? Give the audience the name of the website.
Our website is www.aniyajazz.com. That's it.
That's it.
You can check me out on Facebook also, and Delbert J. Boyer, and MySpace.
Now, I know you spent a lot of time in Los Angeles because we've shared some stories about Dr. Ramsey's been through L.A. We all have spent our time in L.A. You've got one song on your CD, which is called Inland Empire.
Right.
You know that's one of my favorites.
Right.
And I don't know what, but I think it's wonderful how musicians, they'll gravitate to a location and do a song. For instance, Dr. Ramsey has on his CD Lincoln Drive, which is named after a huge street in Philadelphia. You've got one, Inland Empire, which is after a great area in Southern California.
Right. Well, I was out there maybe about 5 years ago, and just the whole vibe. I've been in L.A. before, but I just really dug what was going on, so I just had to write something about it, and Inland Empire is where I was staying. Right. So I used that title as, that
I love that song.
It has a Latin influence in the whole L.A. scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in Clifford Brown, the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival is happening this week. This is a big thing for this wonderful city of Wilmington, Delaware. Clifford Brown, what an outstanding musician. Let's talk a little bit about Clifford Brown and what he has brought to the table. What do you guys think about that, his music?
Well, the main thing about Clifford Brown and his contribution to jazz is that he brought a virtuosic fluidity to the hard bop era sound. So what you're hearing in the music he made is this tension between the simplicity of the rhythmic arrangements of a typical hard bop piece sounded against that virtuosic, all these beautiful lines that he's playing. So it's really a unique complex that he put together, and nobody's really quite duplicated that since.
Yeah. And I heard someone talking about the great Louis Armstrong, and the reason you can't duplicate his music, Satchmo's music, is because of the nuance of the music. And
his voice.
Yeah, the fiber. When you talk about the fiber, you cannot imitate that. That's something that's there, it's original, and we got to accept that. If you want to hear it, you got to play Louis. If you want to hear it, you got to play Clifford. That's the way it is.
Clifford also, he influenced so many musicians.
Yeah.
Contemporary musicians now.
Yeah.
He's just a major influence.
Well, we're going to hear some music tonight from Aniya. You guys are going to be performing. And I want to let the audience know right now, the name Aniya is the name of your...
It's my granddaughter's name.
I always like to ask that because that's such a beautiful, Beautiful name. Well, we're getting ready. We're going to get ready for you guys to come out and perform, you and the rest of the group, and we're looking forward to hearing some brand new music from Aniya.
Yeah, we're definitely ready, right? They're back.
The guys are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, Delbert Boyer on Jazz on My Mind, and also Dr. Guthrie Ramsey, who's going to be leaving us to head on down to the jazz concert. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being a part of it. All right. All right. Outstanding musicians, ladies and gentlemen. Without these musicians, we would not have a show. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to get ready because it's time for me to give you this week's jazz events for the East Coast. And let's begin with tomorrow night, Thursday, June 23rd. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, it's the Thursday Night Jazz Party. And it's happening at the Basil Bar and Grill, located at 422 Delaware Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware. Now, this week, Basil will feature music by Best Kept Soul, who happens to be Delaware's #1 live band for 2010. The jazz party begins tomorrow night at 8 p.m. until 11. And the night is hosted by yours truly. So if you're in the tri-state area, come on down to the Basil tomorrow night, 422 Delaware Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware. Also, every Friday and Saturday, it's jazz at its finest at the Nomad Jazz Bar. Now, the Nomad is located at 905 North Orange in Wilmington, Delaware. And if you go to the Nomad this week, they're going to be having the very special after party from the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival. So right after the festival is over, you can head to the Nomad, and they're going to have a live jam session as they celebrate the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival. For the Nomad, you can call area code 302-655-8800. It's the new hot jazz club in Wilmington, Delaware, called the Nomad. And on Sunday, June 26th, and each and every Sunday, it's the world-famous Jazz Brunch happening at Warm Daddy's. They're located at 1400 Columbus Avenue in Philadelphia. Now, the food at Warm Daddy's is always delicious, and the music is out of sight. For more information, you can call Warm Daddy's at area code 215, and the number is 462-2000. That number again, 215-462-2000. And if you want some music on the radio, every Monday morning at 2 a.m. until 5 in the morning, you can listen to my friend Fane. She's on WPFW, which is 89.3 FM out of Washington, D.C. Now, Fane plays some of the best straight-ahead jazz, and you can listen to her live anywhere in the world by logging your computer onto WPFW.org. That's Fane on the radio. And if you want some great music Monday night in Philadelphia, it's the Tony Williams Monday Night Jazz Jam Session. And that happens at the La Rose Social Club. And their address is 5531 Germantown Avenue in Philadelphia. Now the jam begins at 6 and it goes on until 11 p.m. Tony Williams, Monday night at the La Rose Social Club. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, log on to jazzonmymind.com for all the great jazz events from coast to coast. Stay tuned, everyone. Coming up for our live performance is going to be our great smooth jazz group called Aniya. But before we do, I want to let you know that every Wednesday night we have been broadcasting live right here from the Paradise Palms. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is our final season episode, but we will be back September 22nd with some more great jazz and events. But in the meantime, come on down to the Paradise Palms. They're located at 901 North King in Wilmington, Delaware. Now, they've got the best Caribbean food because my man Wendell prepares every meal with the love of Jamaica. And after the show, every Wednesday night from 9 until 11, there's a jam session here from 9 until 11 p.m. hosted by Alfie Moss and Dexter Coons. So that happens every Wednesday night right here at the Paradise Palms, 901 North King in Wilmington, Delaware. Check it out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we honor the legend Clifford Brown this week, let's welcome some more great music from a group that is from right here in the tri-state area. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and let's welcome the smooth sounds of Aniya on Jazz on My Mind. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Aniya. Let's give them a big round of applause. Come on up, Jose. Come on up here, Rob. Monty. Come on up, you guys. Yeah, man, I like that, Delbert. Is that material off for the brand new CD, right?
Yeah, that's going to be on our new CD.
All right. Come on up, gentlemen. One more time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give them another big round of applause. All right. Now, Delbert, I'm going to ask if you would do me the honors and introduce. Come on up here, Monte. You guys have been here before. Welcome back, gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back. Rob, come on up. Let's get close. Delbert, do me a favor and introduce your wonderful musicians for me. Yeah, that's good. You're good. You're good.
Okay. On keyboards, I have Mr. Monty Pollard from Washington, D.C. Give it up.
All right.
On bass, we have Mr. Albert Morton from Coachville, Pennsylvania.
All right. Albert, raise it. Let them know that's you.
We got somebody from Coachville. On sax, we have Mr. Mark Mitchell from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right, Mark. Yeah.
On percussion, we have Mr. Lamar Wagner from Chester,
Lamar.
PA.
Yeah. And Rob, slide over and let Rob come on up there.
In the back, he always try to hide. We got Mr. Rob Nelson from Istanbul, Turkey.
All right. That's for real. That's where he was born.
Yeah, he was born in Istanbul, Turkey. He lives in Downingtown, Pennsylvania right now.
Now, Delbert, give us the name of the CD where all that new music we just heard.
Can I introduce myself?
Yeah. Give the name of the CD.
I'll mess around. The name of the CD is called Full Circle. We're going to do a 3-single promo. We're going to introduce that first. And that's going to be a release party at Jasmine's in Westchester, July the 9th. So you can get all the information you need on our website, aniyajazz.com. And
well, I want to know from the guys, Monty, excellent. He's got a mic. Monty, excellent keyboard player. How does it feel to be? It's ready to go. How does it feel to be a part of such a tremendous smooth jazz group?
Oh, well, it's great. It's great. It allows me to stretch out and grow.
Yeah.
I've grown a lot since I've been with these guys, so I just enjoy doing it.
There you go. And Brother Rob, my man, on the drums back there, excellent drummer. How does this group fit in with the music that's happening now? You guys are so good. You guys are way above that stuff.
Just doing.
Hold the mic out there.
Just doing our own stuff.
Yeah, don't be shy. Hold it up.
All right.
Yeah.
Just doing our own music. Just trying to expand on our music and show people what we're thinking.
Yeah.
As far as music goes.
There you go. And Albert, you've been playing bass. Exceptional bass player. How long have you been playing bass?
I guess I've been playing about 25 years.
You got it, baby. You're doing your thing too. Yeah. And Jose on percussion, one of the baddest percussionists around. How does it feel to add that beat, that flavor to the smooth jazz?
Look, Rich, I'm telling you, I'm having fun back there. Okay?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And every now and then I get to be kind of in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Being the smallest, they'll stick me out front every now and then. And then I really get to show off.
Yeah.
These guys are such humble musicians. They want to see everybody else shine.
Yeah.
And we let each other do that. And that's one of the blessings, but that's also one of the best things about this group. We really like to see each other shine.
And you guys do indeed. You definitely do. And Mark, exceptional saxophonist, man. I'm telling you, from the first time I heard you, I said, this guy is out of sight. I heard somebody over there imitating me. How does it feel to play that sax, man, and be just grooving with Delbert and the guys?
Well, I enjoy it, obviously. I feel myself a student of the instrument. Feel like I'm still learning and trying to achieve. But, I've been fortunate since meeting Delbert to play original music, and a lot of the other members of the group have had an opportunity to contribute to what we're doing. So It's just interesting to sort of see how we sort of gel and mold, and sort of how we sort of transitioning and morphing into what we're sort of becoming. So.
What you are now.
Yeah.
Well, Delbert, once again, before we go, I want you to give your website. Let everyone know what's going to be happening. Before you do that, I know you're going to be at the Basil with me in July 2nd. Basil's located
July the 7th.
The Basil's located in Wilmington, Delaware. They're going to be there. So if you're in the tri-state area, July 7th, come on by the Basil, 422 Delaware Avenue, Thursday night, and check out Aniya. Also, the CD party, the release party. Talk about that one more time.
That's going to be at Jasmine's in Westchester, July the 9th from 9 to 12. That's 344 West Gay Street. So definitely come out. And please, if you're coming, put in your reservations early because we're going to definitely have a packed house in there.
All right. And the website information.
The website is aniyajazz.com.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say it, but this is the final live episode for this season. Yeah, we've done it. 13 weeks. And we will be back live September 21st with more great jazz right here and also some more fantastic jazz guests. But in the meantime, you can watch all of our past shows by logging on to jazzonmymind.tv. Watch out and watch the reruns anytime you want, and you're going to enjoy some great stuff. Log on to jazzonmymind.tv. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time until 13 weeks, I want to thank my marvelous, fantastic crew for being so diligent about their work. Want to thank our one and only director, my better half, Charlene. Thank you, Charlene. Also want to thank camera person, Alicia Porter. Thank you, Alicia, our daughter. Also, Ashley Randolph on camera. Our sound director, Mr. Bernard Parker, and Mr. Vincent Atkins. Want to thank you, gentlemen, for doing such a great job for these past 13 weeks. And to commemorate our 13 shows, our final season, final episode today, I was given this beautiful piece of artwork by a young lady by the name of Blake Key. And she is an exceptional artist. She gave this to us, and I'm going to treasure this. She goes by the name of Optimistic Key. And you're going to be hearing some more things about this wonderful, wonderful artist. Thank you so much, Blake. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on the behalf of Guthrie, who had to leave, Dr. Ramsey, I want to thank my main man, Mark, Jose, Albert, Rob, and also Monty and Delbert. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Richard Blackwell, and we want to thank you for watching Jazz on My Mind. See you September 21st with more jazz. All right. Great show, guys. Glad the lights didn't go out when you guys. Man.